Okay, as I've said, I'm going to start reading the bit from the beginning of the Ice Cream Girls for the Ice Cream Girls read along. Got mine, as I said, and here we go. Part 1, Serena. As cold as ice cream. Serena Gorringe, one half of the so-called Ice Cream Girls duo accused of killing popular teacher Marcus Houndsley, is expected to take the witness stand today in her murder trial. Gorringe, 19, is the older of the two and is widely thought to have been the driving force behind the pair's cold-blooded plot to seduce, torture and murder her former history teacher. Although Gorringe and her accomplice, Poppy Carlyle, went to the police after the murder claiming there had been an accident in which Houndsley was stabbed, evidence at the scene suggested he had been subjected to torture before he later died from a stab wound to the heart. Both Gorringe, pictured eating ice cream and wearing a string bikini, right, and Carlyle deny torture and murder. They also both deny being the assailant who ultimately delivered the fatal blow to Mr. Houndsley. Daily News Chronicle, October 1989. Serena. Serena Gorringe, I love you. Oh my God, it's going to happen. It's really going to happen. After nearly 15 years of waiting for this, wanting this, hoping for this, praying for this, it's going to happen. He's going to propose. Or maybe he isn't. Maybe I'm having one of my moments where I've so completely immersed myself in a fantasy it seems real. I glance around, searching for proof in my surroundings that I'm not making it all up. We're at a table for two outside our favourite Brighton restaurant, a small, family-run Mexican cantina that sits on the edge of the beach. It's a clear, warm night, and the sky is teeming with stars. The rhythmic shushing of the dark sea mingles gently with the loud music spilling from inside the restaurant, while the smell of spicy food fuses deliciously with the salt air. To my left, Brighton Pier is adorned with hundreds upon hundreds of lights, and to my right, Worthing Pier's lights seem more demure than its more famous cousin, but are still pretty. This is such a perfect setting for a proposal. It can't possibly be real. I must be dreaming. I focus on Evan again. He is down on bended knee, staring at me with a serious expression on his face. This is no fantasy. It can't be, because in all my imaginings, Evan has never been prostrate in front of me. It's so far removed from his normal behaviour, I've never been able to conjure up what he would look like doing it. Big gestures with him are so few and far between that this one is like seeing a unicorn walking down Brighton seafront. I could only believe it if I saw it. So this must be real, because I am seeing it. Serena Gorringe, I love you, he repeats, and I know this is definitely real. Only the real life Evan would know that I would have flitted off into one of my crazy worlds, as he calls them, as soon as he got down on one knee and started speaking. Only the real life Evan would know that I'd need to go into one of my crazy worlds to double check that this was actually happening. And only the real life Evan would know that when I returned to this reality, he would have to continue by starting again. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. He reaches out and takes my left hand in both of his large hands, holds on to me tenderly but securely. I don't normally say these things, so when I tell you that you've made my life so much more than it would have been, and I never want our time together to end, you know I mean it. So would you do me the honour of marrying me? We're already married, I reply. My husband's face softens from his serious expression into a huge, warming smile. Again, he says, will you marry me again? I slide slowly and silently into silence to savour this proposal. I was robbed of this last time around, and this finally proves he wants to be with me forever. Yes, he's already committed to it by marrying me, but he actually wants to do it. Last time it was all rather ambiguous and necessary when we decided to do it. May 1996. We lay fully clothed side by side on the bed in his small London flat, staring at the ceiling. I'd just told him that the morning after pill I'd taken after the condom split hadn't worked and I was pregnant. A missed period and 3 tests had told me so. I'd waited until we were horizontal to break the news because I suspected he'd fall over. "Oh, okay," he said, before sighing a deep, slightly mournful sigh of resignation and defeat. I sighed too, knowing what he meant, how he felt. It wasn't terrible news. It wasn't even bad news. It was just life-changingly unexpected. I wasn't ready. I was sure he wasn't ready either. But here we were, ready or not, a baby on its way. "We should probably get married," I stated. "To stop our parents freaking out," he replied. "Because they would," I said. "Freak out? Yeah. Yeah." Evan didn't realise that when I said "should probably," I meant have to. If it was just about me, I wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't have minded not getting married. But after what had happened to my family a few years earlier, what I put my parents through, I could not do this to them as well. I could not add unmarried mother to my list of crimes. I had to show them that I wasn't who the world thought I was. I was a respectable girl, and I could do things the right way. I had to get married. "It's not as if we weren't going to get married at some point anyway," Evan said, trying to rally, trying to rescue the situation by sounding positive. "We might as well do it now." "Yeah, I suppose," I replied. And 6 weeks later, we were married, and that was that. No romance, no story to tell and retell. There wasn't even an engagement ring to show off. Ever since then, I've had a niggling doubt about where we would be if we hadn't married at the wrong end of a shotgun. Without doubt, if Evan knew Serena at the end of the 80s, if he knew the person who was all over the papers and who had been accused of something terrible, he would not have married me. But he did not know her. He met and got to know the real me. And I've always wondered if the real me was good enough. If the real me was the person he wanted to marry instead of the person he had to marry to satisfy ultra-traditional parents. That's the end of Serena's section, and I'm going to go on and read Poppy's section now.